What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and we are going to be going over the markets as usual, looking at the pre-markets first. Then we're going to look at the Dow, DXY, Bitcoin, starting out in the smaller time frames, moving on into the bigger time frames, and then we'll take a look at Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, gold, and silver. Let's take a look. So I decided on Mondays we're going to kind of look at all the charts with Ethereum and everything else, and then just stick to the shorter videos Tuesday through Friday, get straight to the point and give you what you want to hear. Well, you might not want to hear it, but just straight to the point. So anyways, Dow Futures right now, it is 8:05 a.m. as of the time of making this video. You should see this video before market opens, but right now everything's down. Dow is down 256, S&P down 37, NASDAQ down 147. That could change. You might get a spike in today's price, a boost back up, but we'll talk about that. What I am looking at a possibility of for the Dow Jones is something like this. Now, I know a lot of people like to watch the S&P and everything else. I look at the Dow Jones as the Bitcoin to altcoins and S&P and NASDAQ and the Russell being the altcoins. So everything follows the Dow. I believe it'll show in the Dow before everything else. This could be, looking at the market structure, we could see something like this. On the right, you see the 1929 Great Depression. And as you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Not saying that has to happen, but it's definitely something to look out for. But let's dig in a little bit. So we were watching this 271 on Friday's video. I told you if we open and close above that, we could be bullish. I don't pay attention to the news. I think it's all burnt into the charts, although news is usually at support or resistance. So, but anyways, keeping an eye on the charts only. I believe that's why we have been the most accurate channel. So looking at what's going on now, you guys know I have the center of this channel at about 31.4, somewhere in that area, depending on how quick it was to get down there. But I do look for a bounce somewhere in here. Now, again, we could start the day out, come up a little bit before continuing down. But I believe if not today, sometime in the near future this week, we should see this 31.4 range in the Dow Jones. But if we end up getting down below this, opening and closing a daily below this, it could get really bad really fast. You can also see in the RSI that we've been watching, we were expecting this from up here, the drop like we're getting right now. So something to keep an eye on. And then the DXY, this is from Friday's video. I had this exact target in here and we were right up in here. We were around 108.80 when I made this video, and I put the bounce target right here at 107.60. And what do you know? Boom, we hit it and we have bounced. I know a lot of people looking at the 4 hour are going to say the DXY is crashing. The DXY is crashing. Guys, the DXY is not crashing. It is correcting as of right now. I think it has much, much higher to go. As you guys know, my target for this is the 4 hour chart, mind you, is 1012. If we break above that 1012 range, then we can look at the bigger picture. Let's go into the weekly. So the weekly, you guys know I've had this drawn up for quite some time. The DXY is in a falling wedge, ABCDE pattern, as you can see, ABCDE, and that is usually extremely bullish. And if it was to come up to this, we have our first target at 122 if we break the 112. Now, I don't think this is going to happen super fast. Could take a year, could take 2 years. But after the break of 112, we have the 122 target. We'll probably play with that target for quite some time, but then I do believe we could go as high as this 178 range, which is the measured move of the breakout of this wedge. Let's take a look at Bitcoin in the 4 hour. So in the 4 hour, as you guys know, we were looking, if we broke up out of this rising channel / bull flag, we were looking at a possibility of 2390. But obviously, I had said if we didn't pass the 22.1, to look for a break of the bottom, which we got big time. You can watch my video on Friday. I put these targets in. So far, we have hit our first target, 20,100, and dropped below. What did we say if we drop below? Usually when we drop below a measured move target, which this was the measured move from the break of this channel, once we get that break through there, that becomes our new resistance. 20,100 has become our new resistance. As you can see, we tried to get up here, could not open and close a 4 hour above that. Until we break break the 20,100, open and close a daily above, or at least a 4 hour above that, then we could get bullish and look for higher targets. We'll take a look at what those targets could be right now, and then I'll show you what we're looking for. So let's go off of these wicks here, right? That's another thing I wanted to point out is you can see in the RSI here, we're making higher highs, lower highs in the price action. That is hidden bearish divergence. As you notice in the 4 hour, the trend is down. In a downtrend, hidden bearish divergence is a sign of the continuation of the trend. What is happening is the RSI is setting up for more downside. I do believe we have much more downside to go. Be careful out there, guys. Now, if we look at this as a rising broadening wedge, let's say we break up. This would be the target if we open and close a 4 hour above 20,100, then we could start looking for a retest of this 55 EMA at approximately 20,900, 20,800. That is the highest I would see it going. Do I think it's going to go there? Not unless we break to 20,100. Now, unlike a lot of channels, I show you areas to watch. That's how you trade. That's what you look for, right? So, what I had talked about is that this remains our resistance, which I think it will. It doesn't have to, but if it does, then our next line of support, our next bounce area to watch for is 18,700. If it drops below there, like it did here, this should become resistance, and then we would look for our next level of 18,100. Then, same thing, if it drops below this, becomes resistance. Our next level is 17,500. Of course, that is our old low over here. I do think there's a great possibility that our old low breaks. We'll talk about that in a chart here in a few minutes. So make sure you stick around for the whole video and get the whole view. Now, how did we get these targets? Well, I just showed you how we got the first target right here. That was just a measured move of the channel. And then our next target is from the break of this blue trend line here. You measure from that break down to the bottom and then put it to the bottom of the bear flag. That gets you that 18,700, which I'm looking for next. Then you look at the yellow trend line here. The break of that trend was right here. We take our measured move and do the same thing. That gets us the 18,100. Then we have this break here on the white. Same thing, bring it down. That gets us our 17,500 level. Now, like I said, it does look pretty bearish here, but again, keep your eye on that 20,100 range. If we open and close a 4 hour above that, then we start looking for upside targets that I mentioned a minute ago. Monthly. The monthly is now, let me zoom in here, below this monthly trend line again. We had a fake out to the top, coming back down. You guys knew this was the monthly resistance at 24,500, which held. And let's take a look at the daily. So in the daily, I drew this in back here in middle of August. So a couple weeks ago as a possibility if we do get our bounce at that 17,500 area. Look for it to hold possibly and then come down. But I'm going to show you what's happened in the last few times, why it didn't bounce. It just went straight through because everybody expected a bounce, right? We can also look at the RSI here. We've had, let me stretch this out so you can see it. The RSI here, we had this, these trend lines drawn in. We were expecting a rejection here, which we got. I had told you once we broke below this again, this was a measured move target. Once we break below those, they usually become resistance, just like I'm showing you in the 4 hour. You can use these methods in all time frames. I prefer 4 hour and up, but as you can see, it's come back down. So looking for another test of this down at the bottom here. It looks like it's going to be lower. It looks like it's going to be lower than the 17,700 for this RSI to come all the way back down here. Again, this is the daily, so it takes time to play out. Now let's take a look at, this is in the daily. So as you can see, once we had this low over here, this 33,000, that was the bottom. This was just another bottom they called, just like they called the bottom here. called the bottom here, but I drew the blue line across here. And as you can see, once that broke, there really didn't even get a bounce here. If you look at it in the daily, it just blew right through. And we never came back up to retest that low. It never made it all the way up there, right? Same thing had happened here. And that's what we were talking about when I drew this up, 25,331. It never got there. It never broke. If it would have broke there and got support, then we could have been bullish, but it did not. All right, let's take a look at this one. Now, this is the new low. Again, if we get down here and break through this, watch for, once it breaks through, it may come back up and test it like right away. But later on, it will probably not come all the way back up here before continuing down to lower lows. So be careful on that. Now let's look at the daily EMA. The daily EMA is around 20,400, 20,500. If the daily is to get up there, that's where I would expect a rejection. But nevertheless, that's what we're looking for. Let's take a look at the weekly. So on the weekly, as you guys know, we were watching this, and I had told you it'd be a good place to put in a short. 20,855. Once this rising broadening wedge broke, that was what I was looking for. Now, if we look at the measured move from where that broke, that gets us down to the 14.5 area. I think that's probably most likely where we are headed. Also, we can look at each time one of these trend lines broke up here, we can use our measured move, looking at that as a bear flag. Once it broke right here on this trend line, got our target again. Boom, both these targets hit perfectly. And what were these targets? These targets were just the measured move of this rising channel. Bam, bam. And we've broke that again. That's what I was talking about that 18 or 20,855. Now, as you can see, these took 2 weeks to hit their target. So could we see 8,400 in 2 weeks? It is a possibility, but most likely I'd be watching for a bounce around 14.5. That's what I'm looking for still. Again, guys, just be cautious. Nobody knows exactly what the market's going to do. Oh, take a second, smash those thumbs up. That really helps the channel out. You guys did awesome on the last video, so I appreciate each and every one of you for scrolling down, smashing the likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tick your notification bell to get notified every video I do. Tomorrow, I'll probably do one early. Wednesday, I won't be doing one. I'm going out of town, so but I'll keep you updated on what's going on my Twitter. So make sure you give me a follow at Twitter. It's at CryptoSavvy1. So now let's take a look at the other targets I have here. I have a target, as you guys know, as low as 3,800, 3,400 range. We'll talk about that in a second. If you guys are interested in trading, definitely check out Prime XBT, by far my favorite exchange. They don't trade against you. You can have multiple trades and they don't clump them all together like the scam exchanges. You don't get the big scam wicks. Also, you can use my promo code SAVVY50. That'll get you up to a $7,000 bonus. Savvy25 will get you 25% off your fees. I do have a tutorial on my YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. As you guys know, this is the weekly chart on Amazon here during the .com bubble. On the right, we have the Bitcoin crypto scam washout bubble. So we washed out a lot of scammy .coms over here. I think the same is happening here. Remember, I do think our first low is somewhere in that $7,000 to $8,000 range, and then we get a false bottom into the end of next year coming down. Now, that could happen quicker. It all depends on how quick this gets down to these levels. But I do expect that, and I do expect a pump. This was, I think, about 100% pump. Let me see. From the low to the high. See, yeah, about 130%. So if you wanted a long down in this area for that false bottom, even here's what you do. I talked about this back when 2021 we had a bounce in June. Once you have that low, you can get in there, buy, do whatever what you want to do down in these levels, and then just trail it with a stop loss, right? So if it does continue up and that was the bottom, you're good to go. If it comes back down, stops you out, then you can look for the next low, which I believe will be around the $3,700, $3,800 range. Been talking about it for a long time. There is a possibility that Bitcoin never goes back up again. Or never, I take that back. Not never goes back up, but we may never break the all-time high. That might have been it. You never know. People that are guaranteeing that Bitcoin is going to get above, the all-time high, that's irresponsible because there are no guarantees in any markets. I'm not saying it's not going to happen in any way, shape, or form, but it doesn't have to happen. You have to be careful in the markets, guys. All right, let's take a look at, and this is one thing. So this is the bullish case, right? This is the monthly of the Amazon chart. You can see what happened after. So that's the super bullish case, which is a possibility. Definitely a possibility. But how long did it take this to bottom? That was about a 2 to 3 year bottom right here. This one was actually, almost 3 years to bottom. So, there was a lot of time to buy in here for those that wanted to buy. 2 years. After the absolute bottom, it was about 1 year before it really broke out. Okay, so keep an eye on this stuff. And this will probably, it's not going to play out exactly, right? But it's going to get something like this. You can see on the bottom here, the formation of this bottom. This was an inverse head and shoulders, right? So like I said, it's not to say that's exactly what you're going to see, but you're going to see a bottom in the macro form. You're not just going to get a bounce from here and then shoot straight up. That is not how it works. So just be careful, guys. Let's see. Let's go to Ethereum. So Ethereum, you guys know this chart is approximately almost a year old now. We had this target here again, 1919. I said once we broke that, that would become our new resistance, the measured move, just like the other ones I showed you, right? And that's what happened. So our new area to watch here for Ethereum for a bounce is about 1250, 1260 range. If it breaks through that, then we go down to our next target, which we've had forever, 692. If that breaks, look for around 360. If Bitcoin is in a long-term bear market, like I believe, then it could get a lot worse. All right, so let's look at Litecoin. Litecoin, our target has been this $24 to $25 range. Still looking at that range. I told you to watch for these two as resistance. We did get rejected just below, kind of front ran, but nevertheless, we had our rejection area here. Looking for this 24. And again, if we are in the longer term bear market, it could be much lower. XRP, this chart also, all three of these charts are about a year old, guys. So is my gold and silver charts, just to show you how viewing things in the macro will give you a much better picture. All right, so let's get that out of there. All right, looking at it in the macro, you can see 30 cents is our next area to watch for. If this does break, we'd be looking for around the 18-cent range. Now, I don't understand how anyone can be bullish on XRP, but hey, to each their own. It didn't even reach its all-time high, right? This looks like a giant dying penny stock. It's exactly what it looks like. As you guys, most of you know, that's where I came from. About 5 years ago, I came from penny stocks to here. And anyways, so if this breaks, looking for the 18, I do have a target as low as about 4 cents if we are in the longer-term bear market. Gold, this chart is also about a year old. You can go back, check all my videos where I talked about gold. You'll see it. Nothing's changed here. My target has been 1561. Again, it could go much lower than that, but I'm looking for at least this area, probably the end of this year, beginning of next. Silver. Oh, and gold. Well, let's look at silver. Silver right here was looking for our rejection. We did get a little above it, but rejected nevertheless. Looking for about this 15.5, and again, could go much lower. We'll see how the reaction is here. But these charts, like I said, are about a year old, and they are still playing out perfectly. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget, smash those thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the video. Give me a follow on Twitter. It's @CryptoSavvy1. Make sure you use the link down below in the video. I also have some other links down there on my wife's webpage if you want to help support the channel. But do make sure you leave use the link down below, because there are a lot of fake Crypto Savvy Twitter accounts that keep popping up. The real one is in the link down below. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Here's a couple videos for you to check out from the past, and I'm out of here.